It's a tale as old as time. Man versus robot, Captain McCree versus Otto, player versus engine. That's what a co-op game is at its base, at least two people working together against an AI. But AI has its limits. Robots can't be nearly as creative as the human mind can. So, what if there was a genre where a human was the engine? No, I'm not talking simple PvP, but instead a little genre you might have heard of, asymmetrical. In an asymmetrical game, you have two competing groups of players that have different goals that conflict. Games like Crawl, Dead by Daylight, and yes, Among Us are asymmetrical games you might have heard of. In these games, one player is essentially becoming the engine that opposes the other players. It's a genre my boy Gabe loves, so when Evil Dead the game was announced at the Game Awards in 2020, Gabe marked our calendars, and he did everything he could to pull 5 players together for us to play. And so here we are now as the co-op pros to determine if Evil Dead the game is for you and your best friends.
Oh my god. James is too good. Oh god. Oh
no. Get on the road. No, we just run over there. No!
I'm out of here. Bye.
Right. Where are we?
What is the character that you have? He's crazy.
So close, dude. 10 seconds.
Did he do it?
Close.
Damn,
Let's
dude,
go.
Down to the wire.
Oh.
Dang.
I was real scared there.
Before you're running around shooting skeletons and getting possessed, you gotta set up a lobby with your friends, and thankfully, it's pretty easy. We had a full party of 5, with 3 of us on console and 2 on PC, and I gotta say, setting up crossplay was incredibly simple. You don't have to sign up for an Evil Dead account or anything, you simply look up each person by their gamertag and you're set. Before you can hop into a match though, you do have to complete a short tutorial that's actually worth doing, as there's a lot to this game and it can get a bit confusing. Once you're caught up on the ins and outs of expelling the Kandarian demon though, you can set up a match with your friends in 2 ways. You and 3 friends can hop into a survivor versus demon match which pits your team against a random player controlled demon online. Or you can hop into a 5-player private match where you can decide which of your friends plays the demon. Private matches were our preferred way of play, though there's one big drawback to them that we'll get to in a bit. The game runs smoothly most of the time, but it does have some rough edges. The movement can feel a bit janky, you can't vault over certain obstacles that totally feel like you should. On the plus side, we never got disconnected, but we did run into an issue a couple times where someone's character was clipped through a wall or get stuck on a piece of terrain. Sometimes we were able to get them unstuck, while other times we had to quit and get a new match going. That was really annoying, but like I said, it only happened a couple times, but it's still worth mentioning.
Oh, he's gonna blow up.
What the?
Trying to run you over. Oh, he ran you over.
Watch out.
Oh, what happened to that car? Why was it? Why did it do that?
I just recorded what happened. It's incredible.
Great. The gameplay loop in Evil Dead the game is admittedly confusing at first, as Gabe has already mentioned, but luckily for you, I'm here to try and make it as easy as possible. Each match has 2 teams, a team of 4 survivors and a team of 1 playing as the demon. You'll start by either picking your character as a survivor or your favorite demon as, well, the demon. Team comp is super important, but I'm going to let Gabe take care of that in a bit. Let me first break down the survivor's job right here. The match consists of 3 phases. In phase 1, the survivors are collecting 3 pages of a map while trying to avoid detection from the demon. Once you collect the 3rd page, the locations of the next 2 objectives are revealed. In phase 2, you have to obtain the Kandarian dagger, as well as the lost pages of the Necronomicon. I have no idea if I'm saying that right. I haven't watched the movies either. Just go with it.
Groovy.
You'll do this in a classic area defense objective while fighting off the demon, because at this point they'll definitely know where you are. In phase 3, you have to expel a mini-boss called the Dark Ones, which can be tough as the demon is probably at max power by then. Once you do, the demon has one last chance at winning, destroying the Necronomicon book. So naturally your goal is to guard it with your life for the short duration. Throughout the entire match, you have to balance not only the objectives, but also build your character up with weapons, healing items, and skill upgrades by opening crates, all while being relentlessly hunted by the demon, of course. Think Fortnite, but with a ton of blood, guts, and jump scares. Now as the demon, you'll be doing everything you can to stop the survivors from accomplishing their tasks. You can do that by planting traps, spawning minions, possessing players, or even possessing your own spawns and bosses. All of these tactics will help you raise your level as the demon, which will allow you to upgrade your in-game skills. It's not quite as simple as I just described, but that's just the base of it. And I gotta say, playing the demon is really fun, but we'll mostly be focusing on the survivor side of things for this review because that's where most of the cooperation is happening. In between matches, you'll upgrade either your favorite survivors or demons with a permanent skill tree. It's actually pretty deep and nice to work towards, however, it's tough to make a ton of progress in private matches. I'll get into why that is in a bit. So there you go, play matches as either a group of survivors or as the demon and upgrade each afterwards. Since we had 5 players in a private match, we'd rotate who was playing the demon each match and usually get around 4 to 5 matches in each night that we played.
Alright, this is stupid. I can't even get close to you. What the heck am I supposed to do?
He's ripping.
I'm lost.
Stop it!
Literally.
Stop doing it! You're not supposed to!
To be honest, I don't think either of us suspected Evil Dead to be as co-op focused as it is. But when you dive into the classes and character kits, you really start to see how it all encourages you to work as a team. There's 4 classes in the game: Leader, Hunter, Warrior, and Support. Leaders are more resistant to fear, which is this whole mechanic you have to manage in order to prevent being possessed by the demon. These characters also come with a unique aura ability that I'll get to in a second. Hunters are good with ranged weapons, while warriors are better with melee, which of course leaves the support class. As you can guess, these guys are best at keeping the team alive. Our friend Andy typically played Annie, whose primary ability increases range damage for her and nearby teammates. This worked particularly well if Andrew's Ed, who's a hunter, found a crossbow which his character gained specialty in at level 10, further boosting his damage and making him a total killing machine. Even if Annie's skills in cooldown though, as a leader she has a unique passive ability, or aura, that also boosts range damage for those in close proximity. As such, Andrew was incentivized to stay close to Andy in battle to gain that buff. Lord Arthur has a similar mechanic, but instead of range damage, his boosts melee damage, which led to a similar combo for Garen and I as he played Henry the Red, a warrior character that's an absolute tank, especially since he can buff himself. Thing is, regardless of which class you're playing, you're typically carrying both a range and melee weapon, so everyone can benefit from these types of synergies. But there's more. A handful of characters have really good skills that help in between battles too. Our friend Jane's main Cheryl, whose support ability places a healing aura on the ground, does save their skins more times than I can count. And because she's a support class, whenever she uses a healing item, nearby teammates also gain the effect. Yeah, she's practically essential, honestly. Support Ash, or Sash, the younger one, okay, there's a lot of Ashes in this game, is a great support too. His ability reduces fear levels for him and those around him, while his passive allows heavy attacks to restore health to him and the team. As you can imagine, coordinating abilities like these are essential to staying alive, and we were always communicating on when our cooldowns were up. If you want any shot at making it to the Necronomicon though, you have to communicate to survive. We were always marking the map on where to go, pinging crates and resources, trading ammo, and looking out for our fear levels of course. Ed could disarm traps placed by the demon, so we'd always send Andrew in a building first, or take Hunter Ash, whose passive ability allows him to see the all too valuable crates through walls. So overall, this game excels at team composition and really rewards you learning your character and how they can best aid the team. Unfortunately, there's a couple things that sour these mechanics a bit.
So if team composition and upgrading or learning your character are the game's strengths, the inability to progress in private matches and inability to unlock characters outside of single player are the obvious weaknesses. We were really bummed to learn that you get an abysmal amount of experience playing with your friends. Look, I get it, they want to protect the integrity of the competitive scene, but you typically only get about a tenth of what you would get online in private matches. It doesn't feel necessary to go that extreme, and it makes what would have been one of our favorite parts of the game, upgrading your character and making them your own, nearly impossible unless we played on our own with randoms. On top of that, unlocking new characters is unfortunately relegated to single player only. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, the single player stuff here feels like padding and unnecessarily difficult. It really does not add to your experience and is kind of a waste of time. But we had to do that if we wanted to unlock some really cool characters. It's just a bummer and again feels unnecessary.
Despite those shortcomings, I hope you can tell we had a ton of fun with this game. Or as Ash would put it, it was pretty groovy. If you haven't watched the films, which most of us haven't, you can still have a great time here. I never cared for the movies before, but ended up watching all 3 throughout our time with the game, so I can officially say it definitely nailed the goofy tone they're known for. We got into so many shenanigans in this game, mostly whenever we got into a car together, which rarely ended up well. Whoa, God, this is bad, mate.
Oh
wait, we're here. You did good, actually. I'm really glad we were able to get a full group for private matches, too. Playing as a demon and messing with your friends is just too much fun. And on the other end, it was a really cool experience to duke it out against your friend, even when he can possess your character and unload all your precious ammo onto your teammates.
Take me down!
Got a gun.
I'm not! Kill me!
Yeah, good times. Time flew by when we were playing this game, and we would often look up and think, wow, can't believe it's been an hour already. That to us will always be a very good sign.
Admittedly, I didn't have a whole lot of interest in playing Evil Dead the game. Like I said at the top, asymmetrical games are much more up Gabe's alley than mine, so I was really just being a good sport and going along with it. In the end, all of us enjoyed the game enough that we did play outside of our private sessions. That was mostly to feel like we were making some sort of progress with our characters, but the game had its hooks in us for sure. So if you're looking at this and thinking it isn't for you, I'd think again. Just be sure to have a few friends to join you for the ride.
Thanks for watching, guys, and consider supporting us by subscribing, following us on socials, or joining us for a stream. We've recently switched from streaming on Twitch to streaming on YouTube, and it's already been a ton of fun. Keep an eye on our socials for our updates to our streaming schedule, or check out our latest streams on our streaming playlist. Before we go, we want to give a little shout out to our friend Andy. He and his brother and some friends run a D&D actual play podcast called From Afar. It's a ton of fun, really well produced, and honestly, they just have some really great humor. The community around the podcast has been super supportive of us as he joined us for Evil Dead, and we'd like to return the favor. If D&D is your thing, please go check out their podcast. I'll link the details down below. Either way, we'll catch you next time on another episode of The Co-op Bros.
Oh my! Kill me! Oh no! Like this. Like this.
Yeah, and then just get as far in there.
Oh, it's right here. It's right here.
Okay, cool.
wait.
Whoa, God, this is bad, mate.
I've got a couple
heals
Whoa.
for amulet.
This is rough. Oh no.
And here we go!
Oh, baby, get some air.
Get on the road. No, we just run the road. No!
I'm out of here. Bye.